Hello everyone and welcome back to Satisfactory. In the last episode, we completed our seasonal event for Fixmas, manufacturing all the things that we needed to create about 8 stars a minute. This allowed us to get the Christmas tree completed and topped off with that beautiful golden star. Well done, Pastato. But in this episode, we're going to take all of our weapons manufacturing and put all that stuff in the main base. That way we can have it a little closer to us because weapons are important. We'll also be adding a few extra things into the area just because I want to create them there if I can. So if that is something that you're into, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let's jump in to Satisfactory. Now with the seasonal event over, I'm choosing a specific floor in my factory. This one here, it's close to the top and I can come down here and get all the supplies for weapons that I ever want. The big problem is going to be getting all the things that we need up here. We're going to have to bring up a lot of iron, plastic, maybe some caterium. I don't know if we want to process all the raw materials here or bring up all the ingots and process them into the things that we need. Now, kind of knowing what we need and how many of each thing we need, that's just like once again on the lower floors where we don't really care how many are produced as long as we're producing one of all the items we want. Plus I have some plans for some extra items, things that we haven't created this far, and I want to get them in the dimensional storage. My plan is to gather up as many of these items down here as I possibly can and bring them up in through this area, and that way we can have all of the materials that we need, such as coal and sulfur and empty containers and some other things coming up here. We'll probably also have to have some things coming through this wall. Well, that'll be okay because this is just below our storage and it won't be in the way. I'll need fuel and heavy oil residue because we got to make that smokeless powder for the Nobelisks. Yeah, getting liquids up this high, that's going to be kind of a challenge, but it's something that we can definitely do. We have the power and we can just bring the pumps all the way up here and into that wall. It'll probably have to go this way, but for starters, oh my gosh, I'm not going to float myself up and down this 100 times, so I think a staircase is in order. We'll probably just build something along here as far as the staircases go, and then just have each floor go back and forth, zigzagging its way up. And then bring up water. I think we may need some water. I can't remember exactly everything we need. I guess for reference, we could go back and look at what we've already created. We've got caterium being turned into caterium wire, and that being turned into the high-speed connectors that we need so desperately here. It even has a sloop in it because I needed to create a lot of them. And I do remember us trucking over a bunch of barrels of oil so that we could turn that into the heavy oil residue to make the smokeless powder. Now we did have sulfur and coal over here, that way we could make the black powder. So everything was just kind of put together in a way that made sense at this time, out of the desperate need for weapons and Nobelisks and things. Now the one thing that we're not creating too many of is pulsed Nobelisks, because I really don't see the need for those. But we are creating all of the cluster Nobelisks, and we were at one time creating as many of the gas Nobelisks as we could, but it just got hard to keep bringing over all of the leaves and wood that we needed to keep this going, and I just decided not to do it. But I have a plan on how to make that in the main base now. Now sulfur is one of the last things that we have to get to bring back to the base, and we have an empty train cart right here. It doesn't have anything in it and there's no purpose to it whatsoever. The difficult thing will be adding it on in the correct spot back at the place where we're going to collect it. So making sure that it's on the front of the train when it's at the station where we're gathering supplies for the main base, not on the back of the train and then get all of these mixed up with different items. So we're going to head over there because I know that there's one sulfur node somewhere close to it. I can't remember if I found it when I was exploring or if I just kind of found it when I was searching for all the items, you know, like sulfur. Yeah, I believe it's right up here somewhere. Oh, local wildlife. Nice. Ah, here it is, and it's a normal node. That'll be just fine for our purposes. We just need to take care of the locals first. Now, with the locals dealt with, we just need to get this back over to the train station over here. Now, getting it through the forest is not going to be too much of a problem. But like I said, having it in the correct order on this train, that's where it's going to come in a little bit on the tricky side. We'll have to put a new station out in front of all this, and then we'll probably have to put another loading bay here, and then have the supplies come up, down, and into this area. Okay, not too much of a problem, but we can handle it, and probably pretty quickly. And just like that, in no time, we have all the sulfur that we need to do our project. Now, it's just getting started loading up, and we're at 2700, so it's a good start. So now we just need to get that sulfur at 300 per minute up. Way up. So as I said, I think I want to go ahead and try to make like a platform on this side. We'll go ahead and zoop down a walkway and then try to figure out how to make this make sense. But for now, that's a future Addo problem, and I don't really want to deal with it. The idea being that at every level here where there's going to be a floor, we'll just put another one of these platforms with an entrance to each floor. And that way we can get around on the backside here a little bit easier. On top of that, we should be able just to zoop up all of the things that we need to the different floors. We'll put some floor conveyor holes on each area. That way it just kind of looks nice. Now, the good thing is that I only used one of the two exits on each of these train stations, so we have an additional exit to utilize to send more supplies up. It's not that important that things don't go up in a 480 or 300 and whatever amount. It's just as long as one is being created. Now, some other things we'll need are plastic. I don't believe we'll need rubber, and we'll need some ingots and some steel. Yeah, pretty much all of the supplies that we're making down in this area, in our production area. We'll also need to bring up some fuel and some heavy oil residue, and maybe even, like I said, some water. So we'll run all those pipes, and we'll run all of these things up. We have an extra ingot, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. The big problem will be getting this steel and this copper over here in a way that makes sense. We'll probably have to have it come up a little bit. I don't know. We'll probably have it hanging in the air. Both of these there. And then we'll bring down one of these to, yeah, go right in for those iron ingots. Not too big of a problem, but it's a little problem. And then we should be able just to split off Caterium ingots that we need. We'll need some of those. Just a regular old shopping list of things to do. And in no time, we have everything we need. Sulfur, coal, some containers for something that we'll talk about later, quartz, fuel, and a little bit of heavy oil residue. And over here in this corner, we've got our copper, steel, Caterium ingots, iron ingots, and a little bit of plastic that we're going to need for some other things. We just brought all that stuff up from the bottom and got it all the way up here. So, from here, we need to make all of the things that we could possibly ever need for weapons. And the first thing I'm thinking of is that black powder. Now, we should be able to use our basic assembler recipe to make all that black powder. Now, how much exactly are we going to need? Well, I'm not really sure exactly. We'll just nudge it into place and make sure that we have plenty of space back here. This could move, and that's fine for now. But that's going to be what we need to get the black powder. As far as to get the smokeless, well, I'm thinking about putting the refineries over here. I kind of did away with a bit of the roof just to kind of give myself an idea of where I want to put these things through. I kind of want the smokestacks poking through, and we can design something kind of interesting here that I've never done before, and kind of make a smokestack area. As far as how many of these that I need, well, I don't know. We'll just put in like 3, maybe 4 of them. 4 sounds good. That'll make more than enough smokeless powder for our needs. Now, as far as where things are going to go, right here I think is where we're going to make all the Nobelisks. Over here, I think we'll probably make all the rifle ammo, which leaves us the rest of this space to do the things that we need to do, like make steel pipes and other things like that. So let me get this kind of somewhat organized and figured out exactly where I want things, and then we'll go from there. It'll take me deleting and re-putting down blueprints and all kinds of stuff. I'll probably bring the pipes up the wall and back over here, making it nice and clean. And then I'll work on the roof section here as well. This will probably be kind of like a little pop-in, but it's going to be what we need to figure out where the rest of everything else is going to go in. Alright, now with our black powder and smokeless powder both being created, it's time to start making the Nobelisk. The Nobelisk will probably be the longest chain of things that I need to make. So we need to start off with some constructors. I think that just having a few making the pipes is what we need. So I don't know, we'll probably do like 4 or 5 of these here, and then those will go into the assemblers for the Nobelisks. Now we'll need quite a few of these because we're planning on making a lot of Nobelisks, all the different styles. Like I said, the pulse Nobelisk, I'm not as big fan of those. I don't really see a need for that. But we'll make probably 3 of the cluster, and then lastly we'll probably make at least 2 if not 3 of the gas Nobelisks. 2, yeah, we'll go with 2 for now. Maybe I'll add another one if I find out I got enough Nobelisks to do so. So really it's just creating all the pipes, getting those into here, bringing that black powder across, making the Nobelisks, and then we'll bring up the side here and put them into each assembler as they're needed. Yeah, something like this. This should do really well. We have all the cluster Nobelisks being made, the regular Nobelisks being made, and we can also just shirk these off into any dimensional storage that we want, which is why we left a splitter at the end of each of these. That way I can put them wherever I want. Now, the gas Nobelisks, they need biomass, and biomass is easy to produce, but we're not going to be able to produce a ton of it unless we're coming back here and dumping biomass back into these things. So I have kind of a solution in mind. So the idea is this: we'll dump off any creature matter into one container and any leaves and wood into another one. Each of those will be divvied up between their constructors and make the biomass. So if I drop all the leaves and wood into this container, well, we'll need one for leaves and one for wood. And that will create all the biomass that we ever need. Now, as far as the creatures go, well, that's another issue. We're going to have to make all those into hog proteins, alien proteins. And from there, they'll have to go into another constructor, making like the biomass from that. So the alien protein gets turned into a ton of biomass. Now there is one more thing in the plant life matter, which is mycelia. I don't plan on using that too often or probably having too much of it, but we'll add another constructor in there. So I'll get this set up. Now how will we get everything into each individual spot? Well, we'll just set up smart splitters, and we can tell this thing to, on the right output any kind of leaves. Yes, and then anything else is any undefined. And that'll just move the next item onto the next one. And then we'll set wood here, mycelia, and then that's it. Once we have the biomass, it's over. Now, how do we keep this from clogging up when this one is full and this one can't go through? Well, that's pretty easy, really. You just set yourself up a conveyor lift on each end, and then you just reinstall that said stuff back in to the bin. And it's just like a continuous loop of stuff. It just keeps going through and through. So if the leaves fill up, it'll push through the leaves and keep going. And if it gets done with the leaves and then it's the wood, well, it'll just keep going through again, and so on and so forth. So let me set all this up and I'll give you a better example of exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, something like this. All the biomass gets produced, goes into these mergers, and boom, we'll get all of those we could ever want. Now I've set this up so it should go pretty smoothly as soon as I hook this belt up, because that's the best part, right? Getting to see everything moving in action. So as you can tell, things are going in as they can, then they're just getting lifted around. And we got a different hodgepodge of things on the belt. A lot of people like to call this a sushi belt, and it works for this purpose. As far as other things, oh boy, I wouldn't use a sushi belt really anywhere else. This is really the only thing I would ever use it for, because it's not important. Sushi belts in other places, I don't think I would do that. But the same thing goes here for the creature material. It's getting produced into that protein and going right into that constructor and becoming biomass. Now it produces the most, so our creatures, yeah, it's going to be the best source for any kind of biomatter material. But then all of that biomass stuff comes right over here, and it goes right into these, and we're going to make our gas nobelisks. Easy peasy, right? Yeah. So what's next? I think it's time to make the rifle ammo. And like I said before, I want to make all that stuff over here. So we're going to need high-speed connectors, we're going to need circuit boards, all kinds of good stuff, which is where the rest of these materials will come into play. Yeah. Now, as we've already done this before, I'm probably just going to pop this one in as well. If you really want to see how we did it the first time, I'll leave a card up in the right corner. Why don't you go ahead and click on that and see how we did it to begin with. But for now, I think it's just time for a pop-in. And in no time, we have everything we need being created. We have all of these copper ingots turning into copper sheets. We're going to need quite a few of those because we need them for the rifle rounds and everything else. We have lots of quick wire being created for the high-speed connectors and the silica. And the silica is for the computer boards and as well as the high-speed connectors. Now, once again, these ratios are not perfect, so we won't go over the ratios. We're just creating enough to do the things that we want to do, which is make the last two items right here. We have our homing rifles, which need the high-speed connectors and the rifle ammo, as well as the rifle ammo, which we need the copper sheets and the smokeless powder. Now, I do kind of want to balance this out the best that I can. Now, we need 50 rifle ammo to make the homing rifle for one, and we get 75 out of this. So I'm thinking somewhere around the range of 8 of these so that we can make at least 5 of these, maybe 4. I haven't really decided exactly. I kind of play around with it and do what I want with it. Now we should be able to make our basic blueprint over here to do those rifle ammo and everything else. Now I think what we'll probably do is just have both of them like here or something, and then I can erase the things that I don't want. I don't know. I haven't decided exactly where I want to put them just now, but our smokeless powder is here, and our copper sheets are over here somewhere. Where did I put those copper sheets? Ah, yes, right here, with plenty of copper sheets to do anything we want. They're all being merged into this one place, and I can split from here and go down. So it shouldn't be too much, just a little bit of belt work and a little bit of time, and we have all of the rifle ammo being recreated. And then we can get on to something a little bit more interestingly fun. Rifle ammo completed. Homing ammo completed as well. Fantastic. All of the ammos and all of the things are completed now. I did leave all of this space over here because just in case I ever want to make rebar, I have a nice area to do it in, and I believe I could probably squeeze everything as far as rebar right here, but I really don't want to make that right now. I don't really see the need of it now that we have our homing and rifle ammo completed. Now onto the fun bit. I have decided that up here I am going to make turbo fuel and liquid biofuel. With all of this extra biomass being created here, I'm thinking I can put like a small liquid biofuel right there. And then I have sulfur and I have coal. We also have heavy oil residue. Shouldn't be too much to just make a little bit of compacted coal and turbo fuel. And we can package that up and send it on our way. I was going to do it at the turbo fuel factory, but unfortunately, we just weren't ever making enough of it to try to package it up. Didn't have anything to spare. Now, the one thing we will need for liquid biofuel is water. So that was one thing I hadn't brought up yet. We'll have to try to get that water all the way up here. But in the meantime, I have brought over the sulfur, the containers, and the coal up there on the top. So it shouldn't be too much of a difficult problem to get it up here. The main thing will be making sure that we have 3 lines over here, getting the water and the fuel brought over to where we want it. So basically following the path of the other that we've already done, I think that shouldn't be too big of a problem. And then making sure that we color these correctly so that we don't get lost in the fact of what is what. So yeah, not too big of a deal. Now, as far as the turbo fuel goes, it shouldn't be too difficult to make it. We'll probably have to swing some lines around and then put them all into packagers. It'll be a really compact little setup here for each of these, but I think we can manage it. I mean, getting this into there, not too much of a problem. Actually, we'll probably spin that around. But at the same time, I want to show you something. These are our refineries for the heavy oil residue. I made this cool little thing, smokestack looking, so it actually makes it look like it fits through the roof here. And these are just those angled walls. I gave it kind of a little inset look, and I think this looks really nice on the top edge of our base. Gives it kind of a little bit of a look from this area. This wall's pretty blank otherwise. It doesn't have anything, but there's a little bit of character on top here. And I think it's going to make this just stand out and look nice. Yeah, I made a blueprint so that it made it really easy and then nudged them into place wherever these smokestack stuck through. We'll probably use the same idea over on the other stuff as well. I kind of have an idea of where I'm going to put them, and we'll have to nudge them into the spots where I think they'll be. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to put these in place and know about where it's going to be, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I like this little smokestack effect. But anyways, so let's go downstairs and finish these two fuel sources and then get those into the dimensional storage. Water, fuel, check. Compact coal, done. Turbo fuel, completed. Solid biofuel, check. And liquid biofuel, completed. And that is it. So we have our liquid biofuel set up right here, as well as our turbo fuel, and it fits in quite nicely, I would say, in this area. Both of those are going to our dimensional storage. Now, the reason for both of these fuels is, why not? Turbo fuel is a good source if you need to get uppies real fast, and liquid biofuel, it lasts forever, but the uppies are no good. But you can putter out in a very long distance with the two different fuels. The only other difference would be rocket fuel and the ionized fuel, but man, we are not even close to being ready for that. But that is it. That is all of the things that I wanted to complete in this floor. Again, we've left space to do other things in the future if we want. We could take some of this and turn it into ionized fuel if we ever unlock it. We have plenty of space to do it in. I believe I could probably fit it right in here. A refinery, a packager, and whatever else things that we need. But all of our weapons are now being manufactured here, and we should be able to destroy it at our starter base. Our poor starter base has been incredibly reliable throughout this entire endeavor, and I'm not ready to take it down yet. Maybe in the future we may, but as of right now, I don't think we will. Now, I know this is probably a bit of a shorter episode, but this is really what I wanted to complete today, because future episodes coming up, we have some big factories to build, and they're going to take quite a bit of time to complete them. So I hope you did enjoy. Now, as I said at the end of the last episode, we are over 250 subscribers, and I did say that if you guys would like, I would probably do a little live streaming. It was a personal goal that when I hit 250 to do a little bit of live streaming. So if that's something that you want, why don't you leave me a comment about it in the comment section? Where would you like to see me live stream to? YouTube or Twitch? I could even do Kick if you wanted to. It doesn't matter to me. But while you're down there making a comment, go ahead and check the links in the description. One is for Patreon, where support on Patreon gets your name in the credits, as well as if I can name something after you in-game, I'll do it. Another way to support is to go to our Discord page. Discord is the best way to reach me directly. We have a small community there, but I would love to see you as part of the community. But as always, the best way to support is to like and subscribe, as it does help the channel out. Hit the notification bell so you can be alerted of any time any Satisfactory or any other content gets uploaded to the page. Hit one of the buttons on the screen right now to see what else we've played, and don't forget to keep gaming for the love of games. Bye now.